I'd say today is the best time on the history of our little blue rock to ever do something like that. You have more access in your back pocket than the presidents did 12 years ago. You've got more unfettered resource that can give you the look around any corner that you think that you might be stuck with, and you can get it for the price of a library membership. So if you've ever needed or wanted to follow a dream right now on the planet Earth is the best time to do it.
E-Mark and A-Mark is on.
What?
E-Mark and A-Mark is on.
Who?
Tell your friends, tell your dog, tell your mom.
Tell what?
E-Mark and A-Mark is on.
Oh, hey mom. E-Mark and A-Mark is on.
We're back with another episode of E-Mark and A-Mark.
Yeah.
Today we have the one, the only DJ Sammy T, or affectionately known as Shoebox Moses. What's up, my man?
Dang, what's up? Look at this room.
Hey, look at this room.
Look
We've
at this.
kidnapped. You're another victim of
That's
our.
right.
I know.
This is victim number 5,
If
I
you
believe
guys-
now.
Yeah, if you can't even see it, there's a bathtub full of ice. Which is in the other room.
He's about to go meet his maker very soon here.
So, of course, we're at the Digital Agency Expo, as you guys know, and DJ Sammy is the DJ for the event. Sammy, how did we get you here?
Oh, that was real easy. You guys asked me to share my story, I think, which is great. I think the cool thing about the this expo is that people have amazing stories, and that they really focus on getting everybody else to get their stories out. Yeah. So yeah, you guys just asked. I was like, "What are you doing?" And you guys have like the best energy. So I was like, "What? What are you guys all about?" So I was like, "Yeah." And then you showed me what you had set up. I had to see it.
And here we are.
And now here we are.
So were you shocked when you're? So I mean, you may not have been shocked that we asked you to do a podcast, but then you found out it was in a hotel room that we just it turned into a podcast room.
Oh,
what was your thoughts?
Well, I'm around that stuff a lot. I mean, this is super creative, but I think we turn it. When you're a creative, you turn anything into a set list or a shot or a set that you need to use. So yeah, I love the ingenuity. Ingenuity is what makes things great, and this is super ingenuity.
Awesome. Well, Sammy, take us back a little bit before you were a DJ. Unless were you just born a DJ?
Yeah, I came out of
You
the
just
womb
came out and you're
with a set of beats. Yeah. Let's see. So
what's the origin story?
the origin story. I am actually adopted. Out of the Philippines. I think we covered
I'll
that.
let your boy.
And that's what's kind of neat. My namesake holds kind of the key to my story in there. So I was born in the Philippines, and I was actually at this event. It was at Traffic and Conversion, not this particular, but the same company. Ryan and Perry and their company, and I was learning about my roots, and I wanted to go back to the Philippines, and I had never been, and so I took a little journey, a little pilgrimage, so to speak, back to the Philippines after learning how to market and do all these things and share stories better. And I came on my origin story, which was that I was left in a shoebox in a dumpster, and so I came back with this information, and it wasn't like a heavy feeling. It was just like a real eye-opening piece of gratitude for me. So I found out that I was left in a shoebox, and then my fan base kind of caught wind of that, and they started calling me Shoebox Moses, and that's just kind of what has happened for me in my origin story. And the nice thing about where I'm at now is that name has taken on this beautiful new kind of set of wings, because kids come to me that are going through all the shit that they have to deal with. They talk to me about getting over adversity, going through pain, and pushing through the stuff that they've had to do, because they do see me as this DJ, this person that just gets to live a life that is really, really extravagant by most standards, because you don't get flown around, you don't get to play. I'm playing for Richard Branson next week.
Are you serious?
Gosh.
Yeah, I've been on his island a couple times. They're actually, the Mavericks is an amazing group of entrepreneurs similar to the Traffic and Conversion and Digital Agency people. And they're the ones that, really helped me bring out my origin story. And so I've been blessed to work. I work with a company called Mindvalley out of Kuala Lumpur. And they're another exceptional group of really, really high pushing entrepreneurs. They really execute to better the world. So I've put it on my vision board a long time ago. I wanted to play for the most purpose-driven and powerful people on the planet. And if you stay the course and you put a lot of faith behind that and let people know what you're doing and get really loud about what you're doing, things start to happen. And now we're here talking. So
Wow.
that's the origin story
Yeah.
of where I'm from.
And how long did that take? I mean, you put it on your vision board. Was that 6 months later? Here you are.
Yeah,
You made it.
I think in each part of my vision board, there's always little stages. I had my first one was to play. We have a venue in Colorado called Red Rocks.
Yep.
And so
You've not played at Red Rocks.
I played at Red Rocks like 5 times now.
Oh my
God.
goodness.
Yeah, I got to open for Kid Cudi and Empire of the Sun. That was my first event that I got to play.
What did that feel like being at Red Rocks? Such a different. I mean, if you haven't been to Red Rocks, there's nothing else like it.
No,
on the
there's
planet.
nothing like it. It was really this is the power of being loud about what you want to do. I had no business being on the main stage at Red Rocks. If you look at like the press I had at the time, this was in 2012, and I knew the people throwing the event, and they basically needed live music acts to open up the entire event. It's called it's called Global Dance Festival, and Global Dance wanted to have some live acts, and they knew that I knew everybody in the city, and so they asked if I could help them coordinate some live bands and some stuff, and I said, I'd totally do that. They asked me how much it would cost or what that would run, and I said, I just want to play on the main stage, and I want to play, for my friends and family on the main stage of Red Rocks. Then I just bit my tongue, and
Waiting for them to be like,
Like-
we'll pay you $100,000. No, you can't play on the
yeah, and they were just like, yeah, totally. His name's Ha. He's amazing. He's been throwing that festival forever, and Ha just looked at me and he goes, "Oh, that's it? Yeah, no problem."
Really.
Just like that.
Wow.
And then,
Oh my God.
I got a group together and played that main stage, and that was kind of the defining moment for me for the first part of the vision board, right? And that took me a couple years. My next one, I put up, I want to play for Richard Branson. I wanted to play for Tony Robbins. I wanted to play for Gary Vee. I wanted to play for people as you start learning who your influencers are.
And these are all people you've played for.
Yeah, well, Gary Vee's, this will be my first time playing today.
But Richard Branson, you've played for him before, and you played for Tony Robbins.
I'm waiting for Tony, but I'm getting close for Tony, and you guys heard that, so that's what we're talking about.
We're
Get
looking
loud
for
with
Tony.
that. Looking for Tony. Yeah, Marcus Murphy was actually telling me that's hosting today, or this whole weekend. He was like, oh my God, I got to introduce you to the Tony camp. So I was like, sweet. So yeah, those things all happen. I really believe they do, should you be ready. So yeah, and it's funny because when I wanted to know what my impact was, a lot of people, maybe your listeners, want to know, how do you know what you do the best, and how do you get yourself in front of your heart and do what you're destined to do? And for me, it was really, I knew I needed to perform, I knew I needed to play, but I didn't exactly know what my field was. I started as a guitarist, but I learned really quickly that if you were going to be very versatile as a musician, you had to learn how to DJ.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to become a DJ. And in fact, have you guys heard of your reticular activating system?
I have. It's like when you set your mind to. It's like if you buy a Maserati something, and now all of a sudden you start seeing Maseratis everywhere.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they were always there.
Yep, but your subconscious mind starts to see it, right?
Right,
So my subconscious mind was trained on how to be. I was focused solely on how to become a performer, and I didn't exactly know how that was going to transpire, but I ended up getting, this is so crazy, you're going to love this, I ended up getting a job at a nightclub in a bathroom, and I was handing out mints and napkins, and I was like, this is not totally my station in life, I get it, but I was good at it, I didn't have a problem with it, I was making okay money for whatever I was doing, but I was in the bathroom, but from the bathroom I could see where the DJs were having the most fun. I was like, oh, that's the move right
That's
there.
where I want to be.
So I started saving my tip money in the bathrooms, and I'd buy the guys drinks, and then they would, teach me what they were doing. At the time, vinyl was making the transition from, vinyl into the digital age. And so I would just take them drinks, and they'd teach me what they're doing. Lo and behold, it was probably Thursday night or Friday. I'm not exactly sure. One of our DJs gets too hammered. I'm like, I can totally handle this. I step up.
So they asked you to cover for him.
No, I just stepped into it. That's the thing. You just step up, and I was like, I'll take care of this. And so I played probably for like 20 minutes. And there was a promoter that saw me play, and he's like, you are you were such a good entertainer. I probably wasn't a great DJ, but it didn't matter. I was just a great entertainer. Asked me on the spot if I wanted to DJ for one of his New Year's events, and the same thing. I wasn't ready, but I didn't care. I told him yes right on this, right there on the get, and he was like, done. And so that party had a couple thousand people. Then the next party was this, and then probably took about 2 or 3 months, and I was playing pretty consecutively around Denver, and that led me to play for A-Fest, which is a huge festival that's around the world. It's kind of like TEDx meets Coachella. So I played for Vishen Lakhiani, and that introduced me to Ryan Deiss. Ryan Deiss called me one year. He's like, hey, you want to play for Traffic and Conversion? I played for Traffic and Conversion for a year or two just as a guitarist for people when they were coming in to kind of keep the attitude in their, or not the attitude, but the mood light when people were checking in. Yeah. Then they saw that I was just so passionate about music and marketing that they wanted me to play on the main stage, and then here we are now. So this will be the third, fourth event that I've done with them. Isn't that crazy?
Well, that is incredible. Congratulations. So I want to take a step back today. So you'll be playing for Gary Vee, who's one of the people that you've wanted to. Yeah. That's been on that vision board.
Yeah, since I read Crush It. Yeah.
Since you read Crush It, and you read that when it first came out? Or?
Mm-hmm. So a book written by Gary Vee, right?
Oh, yeah. It's one of his
So it's been on your
books.
vision board then for a solid 7-8 years or so then probably.
Yeah, probably about 5 years now. Mm-hmm.
So how does that feel coming into that? 4 hours from now, you will have realized that vision. I mean, are you nervous? Are you pumped? I mean, what's going through your head?
No, I'm definitely always a little nervous when that, because what'll happen, that room will fill up. There'll be 1,200 people and they're stacked shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're bringing your A game. I've definitely played in some pretty big crowds and stuff, but this is always an interesting one, right? You see these agency people, they're fun, but they're not a stadium filled with people that'll just dance, right? They're not gonna dance. I get that, but
we will.
Yes, you go.
Or will dance.
So yeah, it's always a bit of a nail biter in that respect, but it's always just a real humbling thing. You're doing what you love to do. You get paid to play music and keep the energy up for an event that is really what marketers need to do, and what people are doing, like what you guys do, is the most important thing that we can do to get messages out. You know, and if you can learn how to do that, I think you could do anything.
Incredible. Dude, you know, I think your story is so amazing. And I had connected with you, you know, even before this podcast. And now I just got the sense in your name, you know, Shoebox Moses, you know, the fact you were found in a shoebox, and then Moses is relevant to the Bible. Yeah. I assume that's where that comes from, right? He was put in a basket down the river and to escape death, right?
Well, and he came back to set his people free.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I was sharing with you, I'm adopted from Haiti, and one of my little brothers, we're adopted from the same orphanage, Mother Teresa's orphanage. He was found on Christmas Eve in a sewer, and the sisters heard this faint crying, and they went outside the wall, and it was like 1.5 mile walk to go outside the wall and to find out where this cry was coming from in the middle of the night. And he was so deep in the sewer that they had to walk back again to get a shovel to dig him out. So they called him Emmanuel.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's and then with me and those stories, they're actually one of the things that is a lot more common than you think. Yeah, it's nuts. Well, what a blessing,
dude! It's been incredible having you on this show. Before we end here, just a quick couple questions for you. So, you are living your best life, would you say? You
constantly improving as much as I can, but yeah, I feel like I'm living my best version for sure.
Well, if not, you're definitely and intentionally living is what I like to call it, right?
Very much.
You're
so.
not just in the spiral of waking up every day, working for the man, and not finding fulfillment in it. That's the problem. I don't think people find fulfillment and satisfaction in their job. They're just okay with it, right? Because they just need a job. But you're a person that's gone out there with a dream board and said, no, I'm going to play for this person. I'm going to be here. And you've achieved those things. And in about 4 hours, you're about to achieve another big milestone, dude. That's just incredible. Yeah, congrats. So my question to you is, people whether specifically they want to be a DJ or if somebody's listening to this and they want to be an entrepreneur or they want to start a business, again, whether that's to be a DJ and do music and whatnot, or just start a business, what's your number one advice you would give to that person if they were sitting right here asking you?
And they wanted to follow their dream? And do those...
Yeah, whether that's starting a business of construction
sure.
or being a DJ, what would you tell that person?
I'd say today is the best time on the history of our little blue rock to ever do something like that. You have more access in your back pocket than the presidents did 12 years ago. You've got more unfettered resource that can give you the look around any corner that you think that you might be stuck with, and you can get it for the price of a library membership. So if you've ever needed or wanted to follow a dream right now, on the planet Earth is the best time to do it, and to find somebody that's done what you've done and mirror what they do and look at how they really achieved what you dream of doing, and do what most people don't do: dissect it and put some real intentional time behind it. It's not as hard as everyone thinks, but I think there's a lot of apathy and a lot of distraction. So focus and just go for it.
So a question I always like to ask people on this show is, how much has talent played into this versus your education, whether that was high school, your college education? How much has it been just pure motivation, pure hard work, pure grit, pure just me being an entrepreneur versus, nope, I followed what traditional world says. I went to college, got a high school education, yada, yada, got a degree, and that's what's responsible for my education.
Well,
for your success.
Yeah, that is, college for sure was not the reason for my success. Grit has a lot to do with it. I think really knowing that I was destined for something else. And I think what really, because there's a bunch of different ways to go at this, but for time's sake, I think one of the biggest things that worked for me, I wouldn't say works for everybody, I know it's a science that works for a lot of people, is I have an immense amount of gratitude and active appreciation. So my lessons and my failures, which there have been thousands and will be thousands more, are all taken from a place of appreciation and gratitude. So my education of failing was like my favorite. I'm like, sweet. So I think one of the things that really helped me more than anything was that I really appreciated failure, and I look for it. And so that kind of, for me, was the biggest school. Hard work and grit all come wrapped in that kind of package. But I just really learned to love failure, and how to fail fast and pivot hard was one of the best school lessons I ever got, which was not in a classroom.
Yeah. Very good.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure we could keep talking for another hour, 2 hours, but we're all hungry. We need to eat lunch. So we're going to end it there. But before we do, Sammy, can you let the audience know where they can find you, where they can follow you online?
Sure. My website is shoeboxmoses.com. So that's shoeboxmoses.com. And then I have a nonprofit, which it funds the orphanage that I'm adopted out of. Oh, wow. And so that's called thefoundlings.org. So you can follow me there, or Shoebox Moses, on any of the social platforms, which we will all learn to expand from this week. There's been some geniuses on that. So that's where you can find me. And that's pretty easy. Easily the number one trended Shoebox Moses on the planet. No one else is touching me. So it's pretty much where you can find me. But what a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for having me. This is such a treat. I just love what you guys stand for, and I can't wait to support you guys and help you guys get your mission out, because this is awesome. I can tell you right now, at this event, for the people listening and watching, there's no one else set up like this. It's awesome. It's really sweet.
Thank you so much. We do appreciate that. And dude, it's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for trusting us to come into our hotel room.
Yeah, no worries. I didn't even care about the ball of twine and the duct tape in the closet. We're good. We're fine.
You noticed it. Shit.
All right, we are leaving. Bye-bye, everyone.